Well,
Good morning, and welcome to the 5.5 Legs.
Virtual Cigar Lounge.
Thank you. I had a brain. You know what? Here at Coast Cigar and Lounge at 3418 Bienville Boulevard / Highway 90 in Ocean Springs, Mississippi. Of course, I'm joined here today by my two co-hosts, Mort, Bones in the middle, and me on the end, Maverick. Welcoming you to the show.
We got a little time delay.
Yeah, we do.
Really?
Today we're smoking, folks, the New World Puro Especial. Puro.
Yeah.
Especial.
Right.
By AJ Fernandez.
Yes.
Dark wrapper. We'll get into it a little bit later, but that's what we're smoking today.
They got a nice, really nice wrapper there.
It's very especial.
Yeah. Especially, yeah.
You like that?
It burns nice too, man.
Yeah, so far it's been doing too good. So, last night, and this is probably going to be the topic of discussion the whole freaking episode too.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Is yesterday's draft. Obviously, our first pick last night was kind of a surprise-ish. Not really a surprise, but yes, Travis Hunter going first was quite a surprise.
Yes.
For some.
He should have been top 3 for sure, but nobody knew they were looking for a wide receiver defensive.
Right out of the chute.
And he plays both sides, right?
Yes, offense and defense.
So they traded up for 2-for-1 deal. They got basically 2 for 1. He's outstanding at either position he played.
Right.
At the college level.
Pro level, kind of hard to play both sides.
They said the game's a little faster,
a little meaner.
Well, you got to figure, man. You know, if you're the wide receiver, okay, you're going to get at least 2 plays every offensive series.
Yes.
So he's playing 2 plays. He's running his ass off to try to get that ball. And then he's turning around after he sits on the bench for about, 30 seconds, maybe a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Then he's going back out into defense.
Yes.
And he's out there for the whole series defense.
But do you want to risk somebody getting hurt who's playing dual positions, or do you want to keep him at the main one as a wide receiver?
I think you find out where he's best suited in that environment.
And it takes a couple of games.
In the pros, probably on the defensive side.
It takes a couple of games.
It'll take probably the better part of this next season for them to figure out where he best fits in their program.
Yes.
That's what 3 seasons for.
What do they need a wide receiver? Is that why they chose him, or do they need that speed in the defense?
Sure.
Well, they're getting both. He's not going to play 100% of every play. It's like they were saying last night. You're looking to average 120 plays a game. At the college level, it's a little slower. He might be able to do that. He's not going to be able to run 120 plays in the pros on both sides of the ball. So they're going to pick. I personally think they're going to put him on defense and have, like what he was saying the other day, a few packages for him on offense. And when they want to run that package, they'll pull him in and go.
I don't disagree with that.
He'll get his share of – he's not going to get 10 balls, 12 balls thrown out in the game, maybe.
He's not going to retire as a dual threat offense and defensive player.
I agree with you.
By the time –
But you know what? If they put him in the 2 preseason games we have, 1 offense, 1 defense, see if he can get acclimated to see how he likes it or how he adjusts to it.
It's not his choice anymore.
Yeah, right.
It's his team's.
But maybe they'll do that in the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I'm glad for the kid. I mean, even though he screwed us at Florida State, I'm glad to see he got number 1. I think he's.
I'm not really disappointed in
deserving of it, of the class. But again, like last year, let's see who pans out and who doesn't pan out.
The biggest shock, folks.
Oh, fuck.
Big shock. Sanders, not even selected in the first round. Big shock.
And he spent, look at this, man. Last night. Come on, man. No. Last night, this comes up on the screen, and Mort goes, what the hell am I staring at? Well, apparently, Sanders, who was at home in Texas, built a personalized green room at home.
Okay.
So he could, when he gets drafted in the first round, he can go sit in there and be interviewed and this and the other thing.
The superstar that he thinks he is.
He is not Dion. by any means.
And they should, yeah, but here's the thing: we shouldn't compare him.
But-
Even though he's his son, he should go on his own merits.
Absolutely.
And you know what? They're going to refer to him as, well, that was Dion, he would have caught it, or if that was Dion, he would have had the speed. And they shouldn't do that.
No,
This is
I think those days.
this is all on him.
It's on him.
That's in
This is
Bronny,
all on
that's
him.
in
And I
Bronny
also
James.
think that I hope he's not, because I don't have no feeling about him one way or the other. But I kind of feel that it's a lot of hot air.
Oh yeah, he's going to go to
Okay,
he's going to go to Eagles in the second round.
I'm
We don't need a quarterback.
hoping that the Saints are smart, because we all sat here and just were flabbergasted that they did not choose a quarterback.
And I'm not even this. I support the Saints because we're down here,
Local team, sure.
and I'm not
Yeah,
I'm not a diehard Saints fan, but even I was just like,
You know
what
what?
the hell?
You
was
need
that?
a quarterback.
How many of the three of us went with the Saints and were disappointed? Not once, not twice, every time.
Every time we bet on them, they lose.
Yeah, we don't bet on the Saints anymore.
No.
No.
But last night, the hometown team, the Saints, instead of drafting a position that they needed, which was a quarterback,
I don't even remember what they took.
they took a defensive
Yeah,
end.
defensive end. Yeah, they took a defensive end,
Wait,
which is a
Why
pretty good
give
defensive
up
problem.
the opportunity for one of the first round quarterbacks when they're all still out there, except for Cam Ward?
Yes.
Cam Ward was the only one that wasn't still out there.
they took
They had plenty to choose from.
They absolutely did.
They took, and this is even worse without taking that pick. They took an offensive tackle, Kelvin Banks, out of Texas, who had a
right. He was a lineman,
disappointing season. They said because he was hurt a little bit, he didn't produce. But the year before he did, he was
He
big,
was
12,
very good,
blah
yeah.
blah blah, all
Yeah,
that.
he was a superstar the year
So
before.
they're betting on potential. When I personally would have bet on potential, and I'm not a Sanders fan, I would have bet on Shedeur Sanders.
or
as
the
a
kid
possible-
from Ole Miss.
And as
Which-
fast as he said,
Brilliant move by the Giants.
man,
Brilliant
hey,
move.
You
Hey,
know
Mandy.
what?
What's going on?
As fast as he said, when they showed you not the green room, the room where all the brains are,
Oh, the
and
draft room.
said, does you need all them people to make a decision of who to pick?
Well,
Right.
There's like 15 guys in suits and ties.
what was that with Kevin Costner? Draft day.
Yeah.
We all saw that. All those people in the room, the coach, the general manager talks with the coach, talks with the owner a little bit, decides what, and he makes a final decision. They're all there to throw whatever possible questions he might have or whatever.
Stats and
you're
stuff like
talking-
that. Yeah.
You're talking coaches and senior admin people probably, and they're all at their home location. So it's not like they're transporting them all to Green Bay.
Yeah.
Oh no!
right.
In some cases, they are all that.
But you know what? It was crazy how many talking heads there are in that
Oh.
room.
But you got to understand, they're looking at somebody for the next 5 to 10 years.
Hopefully.
Yes.
So they're trying to avoid recruiting somebody or bringing somebody in that's going to be a bust.
Yeah, it's
Well,
disaster.
people think when they go to the combine, it's strictly on skills. No, they got to take quarterbacks take what is it? And Peyton Manning scored high in the knowledge,
Like an aptitude test.
like
Yeah.
how much you know about this position, blah blah blah, and all that. And
I hate to say
one of the
it.
guys just said Sanders just did not interview well. He came across as entitled and all
And,
this,
you know,
and basically they didn't want to deal with the headache.
We
And that's
do-
what I was
Because
saying.
we've
I didn't
seen
want-
that so many times with the pros. We've seen
Yes.
a player that was toxic in the environment, and they trade him off to somebody else, and he's just as toxic where he goes.
Yeah.
And it's like you expected him to change between this point and this point,
Yes.
and he's not gonna.
Right. And that's
Okay.
bad.
It is bad.
So we got the Saints, we got the Giants, and I got to look into it, but apparently Philly traded up one spot from 32nd to 31st and swapped with Kansas City.
Okay.
And Philly took a linebacker, Jahad Campbell, out of Alabama.
Not a bad choice.
Okay.
No.
And then Kansas City took offensive tackle, Josh Simmons, out of Ohio State.
Not a bad choice either.
What
Cincinnati's choice was, in my opinion, they got what they needed. They got a linesman. I'm happy because of that. But Sam Hubbard's retiring, one of the better players that's out there. They needed to replace him. I'm not sure whether they did, but we'll just find out.
But, these coaches and these interviews, they just scroll up for the next round.
No, I'm looking at
Cincinnati.
Yeah,
They took
Stewart out of Texas A&M.
What's an ED?
An edge player.
And Russia, okay, which is basically what the Giants took. Yeah, and Abdul Carter, the Saints.
So
Kelvin Banks out of Texas.
Let's also we watched some of the choices and we watched some of the teams that couldn't have screwed up things worse than they already had.
Yeah.
The Browns, for example, the Browns took another tight end.
They already had a very good one.
They had a good tight end. So, what's the sense in having that? Okay, well, a tight end could also become a receiver, so they could convert him to a receiver position.
And apparently, he's pretty good at going long, too, for a tight end. So
they could end up doing like the old Brown. I'm sorry,
double tight end.
The double tight end package, something like that.
Fullback, tight end.
I mean, they could do anything they want with two good tight ends.
One of those tight ends that either the Saints took. Who was the other tight end that went up? He went to Chicago.
Yeah.
Okay, Chicago. I think the tight end that Chicago took
was not the best one on the books.
No, but the one the Saints took apparently can play fullback if he needs to, or so they might get something. But these guys, it's like Ed's always talking about these money guys with contracts and they figure out all the numbers and shit. All these guys sitting in the room are looking at all these players in ways we don't even look at them.
Understood.
And
yes.
They might see something in some kids that.
But here's the question for the hometown team. You recruit a receiver in the first round when you don't have a freaking quarterback.
Right.
Spencer Rattler is not a starting quarterback. And the one that they threw everything at, Derek Carr, is injured and probably will not even play this season.
1, 2,
wow, really?
6,
yes.
7, 8. They pick 8 in the next round. So
I don't think they're going to have a quarterback that they want. They're going to have to trade up if they want Sanders. If they want Sanders, they're going to have to trade.
Well, the Browns don't need him. New York doesn't need him. The Titans don't need him. The Browns got 2 picks in the top 5.
Yes, they do.
Raiders,
that was part of their trade.
The Raiders might take them.
So this is what I was saying earlier today.
I heard that in the backlash. The Raiders may take them.
If the Browns trade their number 1 position to the Saints, move down to their position, and they get another one, the Browns are going to be stacked in round 2 if that's the case. Okay, so the Browns are really in the driver's seat right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, they're in front, the front leader.
They got 2 picks in the top
runner.
2 picks in the top 3 in the next round.
Yes. So trading off that number 1 position to somebody, a team that wants to get Sanders and knows that he's not going to last.
They could get something out
deep into it. The Browns are going to they're going to be able to stack their team with what they need.
Yes,
very
that
quickly.
shows them that they could be in the big show down the line.
Very quickly.
Did you see the look on Miami Mike's face last night when
the tight end was chosen?
I try not to look at him.
But dude, the look was like
disappointment.
Yeah, sure.
They fucked up. They got Cole Kmet.
That's the Bears made a bad boo-boo, right?
At this point, they don't need another tight end.
Mandy, the Browns are in the driver's seat right now. I've got to give it to them. I dislike the team because I'm a Bengals fan, obviously. So it's not.
But they're doing the right moves to make things happen.
They have the ability.
That's what it happens.
Again, they have the ability in this second round to stack the team with everything that they need.
I bet you they muck it up.
We'll see. I mean, they've had a tendency to pull bad players out of the season, and then and then he turns around. Baker Mayfield ends up going down to Tampa, and now they've built their entire team around him when he couldn't do squat in Cleveland.
I made my first college bet the other day. College football bet. I talked Yogi into getting into the debauchery with us,
Right.
into a stick bet. I said FSU is going to beat Alabama the first game of the season.
Ooh.
He says, I don't know. He says I said, this coach really has to. We'll
He has
say.
to really see how he can prove himself.
The first game of the season against a team that's hungry could be dangerous.
Is this the season that your coach gets fired on if he doesn't produce?
I like Norville. I think he relies way too much on the portal, and the reason why he says is because you go recruiting these kids, and they do just what Travis Hunter did to us. They say we're going to you, but then somebody offers you something else and you leave.
Yeah.
So they don't have any
team loyalty. There's no loyalty.
Not at all.
So
that's
again,
dollars, as we say
back to
before.
the question.
I want
this the season that he gets fired in if he doesn't produce?
probably, but who else is out there? There's nobody out there. I don't want Sanders because look at what nobody wanted this kid to play for him. I don't want him to coach because that whole same debacle thing is going to show up. I don't think there's anybody out there.
Because you remember, we had the same conversation about the head coach of Ohio State.
Yes.
If he loses to that team up north, this would be the end of his career
Right.
at Ohio State in Columbus.
Right.
However, I'm going to throw the comma, however. He wins the national championship decisively, goes through the probably the biggest struggle that there ever was in college football to actually win that national championship, and he saved his career based upon that and that alone.
Right.
This year he has to turn around and he has to beat that team up north.
Yes, he has to. It's a must.
There's no question about it.
I think that will cost him a job if he loses to that team again.
Especially if
even though he won the national championship.
Especially if they come in as favorites again. And that's a bold statement to make for back-to-backs anyway. You know, it really is. There's only a couple of teams that could actually say, we're good enough to stand up back-to-back.
Yeah.
Only a couple of them.
Right, I agree.
I don't know if some of the players, the key players that we've lost in Columbus can be replaced. But then again, the portal is what the portal is, right?
Everybody
go after, and this, we're not big fans of it for no.
I don't like it either.
But what happens with the portal is the same thing that happens with the NFL draft. You get a chance to see people that are out there that have proven themselves somewhere else.
Yes.
And they're not happy where they're at, or whatever the case is, more money.
Yes.
Which is really the biggest case.
Yes.
So now the other teams are picking up positions that they need from that point.
Correct?
Yes.
And Norville didn't do a very good job of that after the undefeated season.
Well,
he did a terrible job.
You totally went all in on a quarterback.
Yeah, that was
that was kind of a disastrous move.
That was a move.
Another point from last night's draft.
Yeah, he was terrible.
That for me was a shock. Was the kid from North Dakota, an FBS school?
The quarterback.
Quarterback going first round.
Did he go first round?
First round. Kid from North Dakota State went first round. He won 2 national championships. Absolutely.
His stats were better than Carson Wentz when Carson Wentz was up at the school. So somebody's taking a gamble on him.
And he stayed with North Dakota because he wanted to play with his brother.
Yes.
And he was offered D1 teams wanted him.
Yeah.
They wanted him.
Yeah.
Good kid, good quarterback. Or was he a quarterback?
I believe
I don't know.
Yeah,
anyway,
I believe so.
Good player. Let's put it that way. He's a good player. Could have gone D1, but stayed true to his team. That's the kind of player that you want.
Right.
That shows up in the interview.
That absolutely does.
And he's for his team. He's for the unity of his team. He ain't just for himself.
Another one that I was really pleased with, Green Bay's pick. When they chose that kid, he came out of the green room and he was ecstatic to be a Packer.
Yeah.
Ecstatic.
It's cold up there, man.
And he grabbed a hold of, did you see him grab a hold of the commissioner?
Yeah.
Picked him up and bear hugged him like
nothing
else. Happy to be there.
Yes.
There were a couple of players that were really, the kid that got chosen by Dallas was thrilled to be a Cowboy. A lifelong dream, he said.
Yes.
Out of Alabama, right? I think.
You had the list.
I think you're right.
I think he might have been out of Alabama.
there were some. You know, you got the spidey sense tingle when you saw the kid. You know, instead of disappointment,
yes,
they were excited to be part of that.
They took a guard out of Alabama, which is good for them because their offensive line is terrible, and the quarterback, even though it's Dak Prescott, which I'm never a fan of, but he needs help. I mean, all those quarterbacks need help.
Dude, he's under tremendous amount of pressure. He definitely needs a lot of help.
And I'll tell you,
you don't have a chance to throw the fucking ball. Oops, excuse me, the ball.
Let me throw this out to you for the panel. The Cowboys not choosing a quarterback in the first round when Sanders was available, and you know Deion was all up in Jerry Jones's face. Come on, dude, we're right here. This is the deal. The Cowboys not choosing a quarterback showed that they are all in on Dak Prescott.
Yes. He ain't going nowhere.
He's not going anywhere.
And Saints did that with who?
Well,
Derek Carr.
Well, Carr's gone. He's injured for the season. He's not. He probably will not play. I think his contract runs out this year, and I know it's just it's a terrible thing for the hometown team.
Well, they could pick up Tommy DeVito from the Giants because he said, "I'm not happy. They dissed me that you didn't tell me you were taking the quarterback in the draft, and you dissed me." He said, "I want to be traded." And everybody's like, "Dude, you're number 2 or 3 on the fucking roster. They could you're not making any money. They can just let you go."
Yeah.
And not even trade you. Why would they trade you?
Or move him to the practice squad and that.
Yeah.
Where he came from.
That's a nice diss.
I mean, if you really want to be dissed, dude, we're moving you to the practice squad. We still own you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hate that. I hate that term that they own a player, but they still have rights to that player.
Right.
When they're on the practice squad.
Well, he filled in when they needed it. Not a great job, but he did a good job of filling in. And it just didn't work out.
You watched him play, and you're like, this, I mean, especially when you got the mobsters on the sideline.
He looked like
his not his coach, but his agent looked like a freaking mobster.
Yeah.
Gangster wannabe.
Yeah, he just came out there, and you're like, this guy's.
Dude, put the hat
Gordon
up.
Gecko.
He's
the hair slicked back.
Yeah, and then the fedora,
and his suit.
He had the old New York gangster thing going on. Right?
You're right.
So he's like, this is the boy. This is the one you want.
Yeah, this is my man.
He's the Guido. You want the Guido.
Yeah.
Dude, speaking of Guido, this is way off the subject, but they got me watching that the Godfather Harlem, and there's any Italian cuss word or nickname or
slang,
black for the Italians against the blacks against the Irish, any nickname you can think of, they got thrown out in this freaking
terrible.
But anyway,
your choice. What was your favorite pick or best pick, and your worst pick in the selection last night?
I really don't know. I don't have one. I really wasn't paying attention to it. You know what I mean? I was going off what you guys were saying. You know what I mean? The mistakes or it was a good pick. You know what I mean? I was watching the player for the reason of excitement or disappointment. I really didn't see disappointment.
I didn't either, and
I
was happy to see that.
I think they were all gentlemen. They were excited. They're going. Hey, they're going to the pros.
Yeah.
What more could you want? Now, you don't want to go to a team that's 2-15 or whatever it is because of the way it takes a while to be upcoming. They want to be in. They want a shot to go for the big show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That could ruin you, man.
So, Bones,
that could
same question. Your best and your biggest disappointment or the worst?
I think, and they were both surprises to me. I think Cam Ward at number 1 to the Titans is going to help them quite a bit. I'm a Cam Ward fan. He scared me when we played him at Florida State. The kid was that dangerous.
Yeah, he's that good. Yeah.
My biggest surprise, I think, other than the tight end and shit, was what's his first name? Ashton Gentry, the running back from Boise State, going to the Raiders at the number 6 pick.
Yeah.
I thought that was. Is he the best running back out there? I'm like Morty. He's played not so big teams, SEC teams, ACC teams. He played a lot of, the small.
But he was transferred into Boise State.
Right.
Yeah.
But Still, he scored how many touchdowns in Russia?
But wasn't he also in the hunt for the Heisman?
Yes.
So that elevates his stock.
Oh, absolutely.
A little bit, yeah, sure.
So best was who?
I think Cam Ward in Miami.
Worst was
worst?
Yes. Who was your worst or most surprising choice?
It's either the Saints or the Bears. The Bears didn't need another tight end, and the Saints needed a freaking quarterback. I just don't know.
So
why
they both made major mistakes.
I think so.
I wonder why though.
But I'm sitting here on a Friday morning with you guys and not
you're
not on the board. Say who we
Oh,
taking
yeah,
around
but
two.
We don't have the open checkbook.
What do you think? You often question, as we Monday morning quarterbacks are, why didn't they? What is their motive for not picking what they really needed? As everybody on Monday morning
You
quarterback
talking about
does.
the hometown team?
Yeah.
I think money. I think they're
What they had to pay?
I think they're afraid of busting the salary cap too big.
Okay.
Because they're a small town team. Their salary cap's not not the biggest one.
Right. I
think that's part of it. I think another part is, and I mean, money's always got something to do with it, but I think the bigger part would be the fact that, like we talked earlier, we don't know what these guys are thinking.
Right.
Maybe they got a works in the deal with somebody down the road a little bit. Maybe they're eyeing a different quarterback that they want. They didn't want Sanders. Maybe they want somebody different, and they're hoping maybe by the second round he's still there. They took the gamble.
It is a big gamble.
Is it going to pay off? All right.
Well, he definitely is going to go in the second round.
So
I don't know. He's dropping, man.
I've already kind of given you my
for
idea for the question and answer. The Giants, to me, made the best move ever.
I think they actually got an A+ for the first round.
I think they made the best move ever when they traded up and took that kid out of Ole Miss.
That surprised me. And like I told you, I was watching something else last night because we didn't have another pick until the second round.
Yeah.
And then my friend texted me and says, they got Dart. I'm like, well, what are you talking about? He goes, oh, yeah, they traded up. I said, what?
Yeah.
I said, all right, I'm happy with that. I'm good with that.
To me, that was the best move.
Okay.
The most disappointing one, I've got to say, is all the hype about Sanders.
Yeah.
And we really haven't heard the term Mr. Irrelevant yet.
Yes.
Because normally there's somebody still left in the green room that becomes Mr. Irrelevant. They're sitting in there all night long, and we didn't hear who that was.
Right.
And I'm sure that there is somebody that was still sitting in the green room waiting, because a lot of the choices that were made in the first round did not come out of the green room.
Right.
That, to me, that was a shock too.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say the biggest disappointment was Sanders' stock.
Okay.
Whether he's Mr. Irrelevant or not, time will tell.
Dude, that's another 4 rounds. If he does, you think he's going to go that far? He's dropped that much. He might go Mr. Irrelevant.
I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know. There's a reason why these 32 teams passed on him.
I wouldn't be surprised.
There's a reason why.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Where
if he doesn't go in
was,
the second round
if we're talking about Shador, where was his father in this? You got to get your act together. What the fuck are you doing?
I think he was probably in Texas with him.
No, I'm talking about.
I'm pretty sure that
Dion all the way
without,
through and say, "Yo, dude, your attitude's going to cost you millions. It's going to cost you."
I'm pretty
the
sure
team
that he
you
was.
want to go to. It's going to cost you a lot.
I'm pretty sure that he was there the whole time, because
yeah.
he's not the type of person that's going to allow his son to just go out into the wolves. Right? He's also, in my opinion, watching the selections, he's also not the type of person that was going to allow his son to go to. Let's take it back to the Phillip Rivers and Manning trade, right?
Yeah.
Rivers gets selected after Manning, and they immediately do a flip. Chargers and the Giants do a flip right then and there, because Manning says, "I'm not playing in San Diego. Okay. I'm not doing it."
It actually benefited them both.
Both of them got exactly what they needed.
Okay.
Rivers is still playing, right?
No,
he's out, done. Okay.
Yeah.
Nevertheless,
he had a good 18-year career.
So looking at this situation, I think Dion would have told his son, yeah, you're not going to that team.
Okay.
I think there was teams that he wanted Shadir to go to.
Yeah.
And I think that he already had talked to those teams.
Okay.
And it's sad to say, but 32 teams took a pass on him in the first round.
That says a lot.
That's especially when there's quarterbacks out there that there's spots that needed to be filled.
Absolutely.
So
it makes me wonder, though. You know.
We'll see tonight what happens to him.
You smoking the same one?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
the wrapper looks a little lighter than me. You see that?
maybe.
I'm really this next round is going to speak loudly. If he's not chosen in the second round,
he could.
His bench stock is.
He could be Mr.
Wow.
He could be Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah.
Look at Brock Purdy. Just because you're Mr. Irrelevant, two biggest Mr. Irrelevants in the longest time have been Brock Purdy and Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them is actually referred to as the greatest of all time.
Yes. You know what? If they don't take him, Shador, in the second round, where could he end up?
Free agent, and then they choose where he wants to go. He's a
Wow.
walk-on player at that point.
Wow.
So he could end up in the new football league.
Well, it would be a tremendous death.
It would be, but guess
Brought on by yourself,
maybe
man.
that's what he needs.
Yeah.
Get
A wake-up call.
Get knocked down.
Yeah, a
to
wake-up
reality.
call. That's exactly right, Mort.
So
You
what do
know,
what do
That's
you-
exactly
what do
right.
you
Hi,
think-
Patty.
What do you think of this? Well,
Yes, Mav, what do you think
Okay.
of this start?
It seems like I'm getting my taste profile and my cigar a little deeper or a little darker.
stronger?
A little stronger, a little darker. I thought this was very good. I keep on hearing good things about the cigar we're smoking, and I'm going to give it 7s across the board all the way. Burn, draw, and the taste.
Okay,
7s.
good.
I think it's a nice cigar. I would definitely smoke this again. I won't bypass it. New Worlds are pretty good. Well, we have a couple of customers that's what they get.
Yep.
You know, John and Jeff, and
Bones?
definitely smoke it
AJ's
again.
got a good line. I really like it. It's not my first time smoking it, but I'm going to go with probably an 8.5
Across the board.
across the board with the coffee I'm drinking, the Costco blend. I like it. I can't rate the coffee because it's just a Costco coffee. You know, it's not. But yeah, I give it 8.5.
I expected a lot more heat to it just by looking at the wrapper. So once again, looking at the wrapper does not tell you how that cigar is going to be.
Yes.
I say this is probably medium to bold,
Mhm.
somewhere in between.
Yes.
Yes, I agree.
I give it a 7.7 as far as my grade goes because I've been watching Portnoy do his
Ratings?
pizza ratings.
Some of his are pretty freaking low.
I
too,
am
man.
not going to give an even number because that's cheap. 7.7, good burn, good taste, and good price.
Yes. Most
Folks,
important.
Here at Coast Cigar and Lounge in Ocean Springs, Mississippi, you buy 3, you get 1 free
Yes. Of any of their styles.
of
And-
New
and-
World
and New Worlds. Yes.
and and All Saints.
and All Saints.
Yes.
And what do we have new from the PCA that's in the shop?
Placentias.
We got the Placentia Blue
And we've got the purples from McAuliffe coming
coming
in.
in. That's correct.
Nice. So we got a couple of new blends coming or that are in. One's on the shelf.
The McAuliffe's not here yet.
The McAuliffe's not here yet,
Yeah.
but on the way. But we have the Placentia on the shelf. It's the blue one.
Half a box is gone already.
Yeah.
That's because people really wanted to try it.
I mean,
Mhm.
And we may end up doing that one maybe
Down the
later in the
line.
future. We'll see what the shop owners say because it is a pricey cigar.
Yes.
We'll see whether it actually stacks up to the 5.5 legs.
Ratings.
Yeah, we'll see
Yes.
how it stacks up.
I haven't smoked it yet, so I'm not even going to comment on what's been told to me because everybody's got their own palate, their own
Absolutely.
personal opinion.
Yes.
I like the green octagon a lot.
Yeah.
I'm hoping the blue is as good.
I'm
not better.
hoping. I am hoping that it is the same thing as the octagon. I was hoping for a little less price
Yes,
to make it more palatable for a user.
your pocket.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me
Yeah.
let me tell you something about this. A funny story. When those came in and I was pricing them, Matt knows. I go, holy shit! I said, this cannot be a $50 cigar. I did the formula and everything, but apparently I was grabbing the wrong thing on the invoice
Ah,
on the amount of. Well, not that I was grabbing the wrong thing. Yeah, that's part
yeah,
of it.
you looked at the wrong SKU.
The second part was I was dividing it by 5.
Instead of
Because
10.
I opened the box and only saw 5 cigars. I didn't realize
Oh,
there were 10.
Yeah,
in
they
there.
were stacked tight and
Yeah, I was
over
just
and
like-
under.
So I redid everything, and I was like, all right, it's about as pricey as the other green one. Maybe $1 more. I don't know. But yeah, at first it was like $49.70. I was like, fuck, I ain't going to sell.
Well, I
I
have
hear it.
had one, but I'm not going to tell you about my rating or how it went until maybe next week.
Okay.
If you gentlemen maybe have yours.
Okay.
That we all had it, and then we'll discuss it.
And just for our viewers, all 2 of you,
Online, we do better. We do better.
we do
download.
better out afterwards. We may end up doing a special show when the entire draft is done before next Friday. We may sit down and do a quick 30-minute
Yeah. Quick
recap
review.
of-
Yeah, we may do that. It sounds good.
of,
It's interesting.
of what happens, or
Yes.
what happened, and who. Let's just put it this way: you got 32 teams, right?
Yes.
Who
Great
made the best selections out of all?
And, you
Right.
know, and I think that's if we
Who
do-
made the top selections for their team?
If we do that next Friday, I assume Fax is working today.
No, he's off
Oh,
today.
he's off.
It's
today.
down Friday.
Because I was going to say, if he's not working next Friday,
He'd be a
he'd
good
come on.
analyst to have on.
Absolutely. Top analyst.
He knows it a lot better than we do.
And it could end up being an evening show at this point, just a
Yeah.
special.
Yeah, one. Yeah.
Hey, we're going to do a recap, and we bring in the 5.5 Legs virtual cigar lounge sports analyst
Expertise.
and chat a little bit about that.
Sounds good.
We can always tape it and then just drop it.
We could,
and do
we
it.
could.
That's up to Morty.
and
Yeah.
Mav is getting ready to go on vacation in a
Yes.
couple of weeks.
May 19th,
So
right?
15.
15th.
So we'll
Yeah.
we'll decide who we're going to bring in,
Fill in?
to fill in.
Can I chime in from there?
Absolutely.
You could, but it's going to be midnight, and,
Yeah, it's
and
gonna
you're
be
going to be in
yeah.
bed
well,
Yeah,
no,
I'll be
it's what are we 9:30?
first thing in the morning.
6 hours it is, I think.
Yeah, you'd be mid afternoon. You'd probably be right in the middle of doing something.
Okay.
Yeah,
But we
You
can
never know.
We can bring you on.
never know.
All right.
All right.
Mav,
All right. For the 5.5 Legs Virtual Cigar Lounge here at Coast Cigar at 3418 Bienville Boulevard, Mort, Bones, and myself, Maverick, wish you a happy and healthy weekend.
Have a great weekend, folks.
See you guys.